lipstick on my face from Kate? If not, Kate, you gotta come back and do it again. Wow. Ah. I just have to say this. Thank you for that introduction, Mr. President. Hello, Atlanta. If you are from the South, give a shout out. Make some noise if you're from the South. It is great to be here with so many Southern activists. If you are psyched to be in Atlanta, make some noise. This is going to be a good few days. Definitely is. And you know, there are many, many years when we've come together here at Creating Change when we could still feel the sting of the ballot box. And we were worried about the havoc that an anti-LGBT president might cause for our lives, our country, and our world. We've come together in years when our renewed hopes that some state referendum would confirm a swing in the national mindset were dashed. There have been years when we would come here to lift each other up, to assure each other that change would happen, that change was happening despite our losses and despite our fear that something might never change the national sentiment. But this is not that year. This is not one of those years. This year, we come together to celebrate. This year was the year when enough people stood together, joined together, and said, enough, enough. Enough with being marginalized, enough with being ignored, enough with being treated like we and our families and our votes don't count. Women, Latinos, African Americans, and progressive people of faith came together in communities across the country and made the deciding difference at the ballot box. Last year, for those of you who are here, you will recall that both Ben Jealous, president of the NAACP, and I made an urgent call to fight the voter suppression efforts that were underway, and we did. In 2012, those who sought to deny our voices went too far. And as people of color and people in poor communities went to the polls determined to have their voice, they stood there and they stood there and they stood there until they could cast their votes and be heard. That, my friends, is victory over oppression and victory over systemic racism. It is also a victory for human dignity. Yes, we have got to do so much more, but think of it. This year, we have a record number 7 out members of Congress. We were afraid of keeping the ones we had. Record 7 members of Congress with a number of firsts. As Kate said, including the first woman senator from the great state of Wisconsin, Senator Tammy Baldwin, first African senator, and in an historic first, our first out bisexual member of Congress, Representative Kirsten Sinema from Arizona. And our first out Japanese American Congressman, Mark Takano of California. I saw all of them earlier this month when they all get sworn in, and I am telling you, they are ready to go. They are ready to go. The tables are turning. This year, a broad coalition of voters showed up for young immigrants in Maryland and approved a statewide DREAM Act showing our country what true opportunity looks like. As Darlene noted, voters returned Barack Hussein Obama to the White House, who has not only demonstrated with his actions that he is the most LGBT supportive president in the history of our country, but with his inclusion of the 1969 Stonewall Rebellion in his inaugural speech, he squarely placed LGBT equality in the long lineage of movements that have had watershed moments from Seneca Falls to Selma. And we will work to get him to say more than just gay. As I sat at the foot of the Capitol, honored to attend inauguration, holding my daughter's hand, listening to the president, watching that fierce Latina, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, swearing in the vice president, hearing a more inclusive benediction, being transported by the poetry of Richard Blanco, a gay Cuban immigrant, and of course the invocation by civil rights leader Myrlie Evers-Williams. Well, let's just say, I thought, yes, this is the country I know. This is the country I want my daughter to grow up in. What happened on the steps of the Capitol earlier this week was in so many ways remarkable. Real change. But it was also made inevitable because of the work you, in this room, and many across the country have done for decades. You made that happen. You made those words come out of our president's mouth. And this year, after losing 31 times in the ballot box, 31 times, but he's counting, this year we won big on marriage. We beat back marriage opponents in Minnesota, and we won marriage equality in Maine, and Maryland, and Washington State. If you are from Minnesota, Maine, Maryland, or Washington State, stand up and raise your hand so we can applaud you. If you posted on Facebook or Twitter or otherwise encourage people to vote the right way and stand or raise your hand. If you contributed in any way to these wins, if you gave of your time or your money, stand or raise your hand and let us applaud you. Thank you. The task force was proud to dedicate our staff, our money, grassroots training, leadership development support, our social media machine, and expertise in all 4 of these states to contribute to a history-making election. In fact, led by the task force's organizers and faith staff, I'd like to publicly thank our task force staff who worked on marriage, the Maryland Dream Act, and against the death penalty in California. Thank you, task force staff. As always, the task force did what we do best. Working at the grassroots level, organizing and engaging voters, and this year we expanded that focus by mobilizing progressive people of faith. And guess what? It worked. We knocked on doors, spoke to congregations, walked neighborhoods, and had thousands of one-on-one conversations that changed people's hearts, and we changed people's votes. And what makes our movement success?